One of the biggest mistakes a publisher can make is forgetting about the user while they're building their digital ad strategy. In the end, you need happy users to have a great experience on your website or app. Otherwise, your audience will dwindle and your revenue will dwindle with it. With that in mind, let's cover some best practices for user-friendly ad performance. Number 1, try to exceed expectations. We've all experienced reality just not living up to expectations. It is no less annoying when that experience is on a website. There's a theory that user engagement and satisfaction are correlated to users' expectations and nothing else. In other words, if a user expects a great experience and gets a good one, they're unsatisfied. And if they expect a bad experience and get a halfway decent one, they'll be satisfied. There may or may not be other factors at play in user satisfaction, but it's clear that expectations play a big part. So your best bet is to exceed your users' expectations when it comes to navigating your site and being presented with ads. To do that, try to avoid creating environments in which a user clicks on one item and ends up seeing another, such as an ad. Make sure they know when they're about to see an ad, and don't ever surprise them with one if you can avoid it. Steer clear of the all too familiar behavior on ad-heavy mobile pages where the page is forced to reload and scrolls the user all the way back up to the top. Essentially, do everything you can to keep users happy, which keeps them on your site. Number 2, test, test, test. While the best practices we've already discussed create a great starting point, they should not be considered an endpoint. You should be testing ad unit placements and watching the effect they have on user behavior and ad revenue to find the perfect mix for your website. A set it and forget it mentality when it comes to your strategy for ad layout will hinder you in reaching your full ad revenue potential. Make sure you are regularly testing and keeping a watchful eye on how each change affects your user data. And number 3, avoid ad clutter. Let's start by looking at mobile ad density. The Coalition for Better Ads has a very clearly defined standard for ad density on mobile devices. They recommend that ads take up no more than 30% of the vertical height of a page. Ad density is determined by summing the heights of all ads within the main content portion of a mobile page, then dividing by the total height of the main content portion of the page. Follow the 30% rule for mobile. Quite simply, on mobile devices, make sure you're following the 30% ad density or less rule provided by the Coalition for Better Ads. Now, desktop experiences, on the other hand, have no such clearly defined guidelines. This is where you find yourself at the intersection of an art and a science. Because there are so many different ad units out there and so many different ways to incorporate them into the content of your website, it is very difficult to strictly define what makes an experience too ad dense. Let's go through some best practices that should keep you away from a cluttered experience. First, use a mix of high impact and standard ads. An easy way to keep ad density in the right place is to use a blend of standard display ads and high impact ads. This keeps you from using too many display ads, which will start to lead to ad clutter, and strategically work in high-impact units that increase ad revenue much more with each impression. Second, pick the best positioning for your display ads. Reducing your total number of display ads means that you need to pick the best possible positioning for those display units to drive the maximum CPMs. In general, make sure to follow the advice provided in the ad layout best practices discussed in this video, and you should be able to stay in a nice, safe place.
Learn more at www.playwire.com/ad layout training. Or if you're watching on YouTube, click the link below in the description of this video.